Okay, it's 7 o'clock. The August Town Board meeting to order. Please join me for a moment of silent prayer for Stuart Guy Hunt and Pope Dieter. Thank you. Now join me for a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for being here. First item, recusal check. Is there anything on the agenda anybody on the board feels they must recuse from? No? Okay, we're good. Minutes from the July board meeting and public hearings. Any comments on Monica's minutes? Could I get a motion to approve the minutes for the board meeting and the public hearing as presented, please? Moved in second, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, thank you very much. The revaluation, we have, according to what I learned from Renee, 7 Article 7s and 4 SCARs, which is a small claims assessment review. Renee and I are meeting with our attorney next Thursday at 10 o'clock. Anybody on the board who would like to join us is welcome to basically talk about how we approach this. Apparently, the disclosure process is long and tedious, so this is going to take a while. The SCAR process is done at the county, and that will be scheduled county court, and Renee will go represent us there. And again, there's nothing more to report on that. Planning and zoning items, Nan has produced, and I've circulated to members of the board and the planning board and the ZBA and the building department and Jay Hoffman, the planning board ZBA clerk, a whole package of proposed reformatted forms. And Nan is hoping to get comments from everybody before she finalizes them. And hopefully next month at the September meeting, she will be ready to give us her update. We, from last month, have a residential accessory use fee schedule revision proposed by Jay Hoffman. You go to the revisions page, the proposal. Number 2 is that the fee for special use permits for accessory residential uses be reduced from 500 to 150 effective immediately, and that the renewal fee be dropped to $75. This was the result of a need for special use permits related to having chickens in the hamlet in Boston Corners. So could I get a motion to approve that resolution? Is
That
there
doesn't affect anything else other than having chickens on your property?
again?
This
affects any
resolution
residential.
doesn't affect anything other than having chickens on your property.
Well, it's
Okay.
crazy.
Well, what else
because
does it affect?
It's crazy because Boston Corners shouldn't even be a hamlet anymore. There is no train station anymore. There's no bar in the inn anymore. There's no gas station anymore. So it shouldn't be a hamlet down there at all. There shouldn't be any Boston Corners hamlet.
Well, that's a different issue. We're not dealing with that tonight. What we're dealing with tonight is whether or not we will approve this proposal.
But what else does this affect?
Is it just chickens?
And this resolution doesn't just affect chickens, does it?
In residential accessory.
Well, what are the other accessory uses that it would affect?
Goats, would it affect goats? If I wanted to have goats over there?
No, I'm asking, I mean, does this affect STRs? Short-term rentals. Okay, I'm asking what other residential accessory uses it affects, because I just want to know.
Okay, what's in it?
I mean, if I gotta vote on chickens, I'll vote on chickens, but if I'm voting on something else, I'd like to know about it ahead of time.
Well, if you want to hold off on it, I'll bring you the law next time around. You can look at the paperwork.
I'm
Yeah, no, David's right. I think, my fault. I should have had,
That's fine, because I don't want a special use permit. I want to get rid of the hamlet.
all right, so we will postpone this for another month and we will circulate whatever a residential accessory use is.
I mean, if we want to vote, if we want to make a resolution just about chickens, I'll do that.
Is this can we just let us have a business meeting, please?
Excuse me,
Or can you,
please.
we're trying to have a meeting.
Are we allowed to ask questions on this? I just like the background. Or do I get?
Yes, could you hold on for a minute? Bonnie would like to ask a question.
This was about-
Bonnie, do you have something?
It's in the zoning law what the uses are. My question is this something that needs to be done now so that the person can get a special use permit? Or is it something we can put on?
I think we can put it off. Yes, Jim.
No, I just like to hear the full background. Anybody else heard this?
Well, I think, yes, Mary.
Well, not just.
Aren't public comments, isn't there a specified time, public comment?
Well, there is at the end, but we have a protocol which allows the public to comment on each item as we go along.
Well,
But we need to let the board discuss it.
Yes, but that's, the question was, what brought this on? I think the chickens brought this on. But there are other, as David points out, other accessory uses that we would be covering, and we'll cover that next month.
that's.
Gonna say.
That's why I-
Okay, let me move along. Thank you.
I'm not trying, I mean,
Oh, you're right.
no, but quite honestly, if we're gonna wait, the only real cost to a person would be $351.
But
But the person can.
But that's what I mean. It's only $350.
Yeah, so let's defer this till next month. And we will have a more robust response to David's question. Third item, I just wanted to bring to the board's attention, not for action. The building department workload has gotten pretty substantial. The number and complexity of building permit applications has caused the zoning enforcement officers' workload to increase from what was normally 16 hours a week to close to 30 hours a week. Varies between 25 and 30 hours a week. So we are seeing a dramatic increase in activity. And we're also seeing a fairly dramatic increase in fees. The fees this year are likely to be $75,000, which is up from the budget of about 40. So there's a lot of activity. Next item, ONG, we, at the recommendation of the planning board, the zoning enforcement officer notified ONG that it appeared that their mining privileges in Boston Corners may have lapsed because of a lack of activity for more than 2 years. ONG has appealed that determination and it's going before the zoning board of appeals on the 28th of this month. And will then probably lead to a public hearing and then a determination later in the fall. So that is still an open item. The Strategic Investment Committee did not meet this month. And I got a note, and I think the rest of the board got a note indicating they had nothing new to report. However, just a couple of days ago, we got from Steve Winkley a water study that outlines the alternatives for improving water in the hamlet of Ankrum. I think we will let the Strategic Investment Committee review that. We'll probably circulate it to the entire community. And we'll probably schedule Steve Winkley for a presentation for the whole town. So people can kind of pick his brains on what the options are. Any questions on that? If you've had a chance to read it, you'll see it's quite detailed and complicated. but there are things individual homeowners can do to improve water availability. The camp and pool,
I would like to just report on the housing.
oh, yes, go ahead.
At this point, if I can. We've been moving along, creating a community land trust, and we've found an attorney who's doing it for free so far, so we haven't had to spend any money. And at our last meeting, we had a really terrific presentation from Al Valentia from Habitat for Humanity, who has, they have a whole new, you know, some people don't have good feelings about Habitat. They've completely revamped their model, and they have a whole new idea of how to build not just one house at a time, but maybe 5 or 6 houses on a lot, and they're gonna make them really, really affordable. And they have a whole plan, and they're almost becoming small developers, where they're gonna do those engineered septic systems. They would do, you know, half-acre lots so that people can have their own home on a half-acre. And there's 3 different models, 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. And it's kind of exciting because it's a really great model for rural communities, and it would be separate homes, and it would be, you know, a very affordable model. So we're hoping we can work with them, and I think they've got a really terrific model going forward. So he kind of wanted to come and reintroduce Habitat to Amber because it's kind of been a bad situation in the past. So maybe at some meeting, he would be willing to come and talk about the whole new model, but it's very hopeful.
Got a question?
I'd like
Yeah.
to, maybe not necessarily now, but talk to you because I'm a resident and I have.
Sure.
Tom,
A lot of problems. and just wondering,
So my question is,
I would like to hear your comments. If you're in a Habitat home, let's hear what you got to
If you
say.
guys want me to talk about
I
it.
don't,
Why shouldn't we hear what she's got to say?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Shortly, just saying that like every village system has had serious problems, and I just feel like the person who's been in charge of like the overall construction and projects like that, just, I'm sorry to say, is not really a competent person. I don't know if it's just because of funding or what, but I mean, from the electric wiring, I don't know how they even gotten an inspector to pass these things, the septic, they didn't have heat on the first floor for the whole winter, the winter was really cold. And what they did over and over was basically gaslight me and tell me that like there wasn't an issue with anything, which was obviously like a major issue. And it seems like they just didn't have the financial management in order to see the projects through to completion. So, you know, it's like a wonderful home that I live in. I'm so thankful to God, I have to say honestly, that I live there. But I don't know that the management was really like from beginning to end, you know, follow through.
who are you dealing with?
I do deal with Al at
Okay.
this time, but I mean, because directly because I was supposed to have a mentor who just kind of dropped out. The loan officer I deal with, but
Yeah.
not work there. I mean, like,
And to his defense, I'll say he wasn't in charge when this all
I
started.
do understand that. but
And
at the
they
same
said
time,
from the Habitat.
Yeah.
Houses, the one that you live in, they learned a lot of lessons, and that's why they've changed. You know,
I would
a
just
lot
like
of
to
things.
be able to ask questions if you have a committee or
Sure.
something like that, or
Absolutely.
participate somehow, because I
I
really
don't know the,
want them to do the same kind of things. That
Yeah.
they're not, maybe they are addressing things, but they're still, when it comes to my situation, they're still not fully addressing things in the way that they're supposed to. For their own, you know.
I'd be happy to talk to you, and Al too.
Okay.
okay, Tom,
Question, so, I mean, I'm somewhat familiar with, early on with the Habitat Committee, I had a relative who, applied to, be one of the, you know, renters or whatever. And there was an, very, arduous, low level of salary that would be accepted. It seemed like if you made over like $40,000, you couldn't be in there, or something like that. And he was, and I was too, he was surprised, I was surprised are those things gonna be changed or are they gonna stay the same?
Well, they, and I don't like to speak for Habitat, that's, I don't work for them. But what they use is the AMI, which is the average median income. Which unfortunately keeps going up because there's a lot of people around who have a lot of money. And it makes the average income go up. So that's what they use, and I don't really know what it is at the moment, but.
Okay, well, okay, it's good to hear you say you think it's gonna go up. But as I'm saying, he found it to be excruciating low to get
No, I know,
qualified.
I know people,
And that's,
like
what
you.
I think that's why the unit stayed empty as long as they did.
it's one of the reasons, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the reasons why.
Yeah, it is, no, I have nothing to do with that.
Oh, you can't, we'll ask the person when they come.
Yeah, Yeah, because I don't know how they do that.
So
It's
you're
not
not-
my job.
You're not the person,
No.
understood, we'll give you up the list, go to next.
He just came to
Got it.
give us,
Okay.
their ideas. so,
Understood.
yeah,
Okay,
You can use them or not.
Question?
She mentioned half-acre lots. Where are you proposing half-acre lots on land around
We
here?
don't know yet.
Wait,
It's just an idea for them right now.
6,000 on a 3 acre lot,
Right.
separated into half.
Yeah, so that's their idea. We don't have a place yet. It's just an idea.
And water will be one of the issues, so we gotta make sure there's adequate water for.
Right. I mean, they have to work all that out.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
just
anything-
reporting what they said.
Anything else on housing?
No,
Okay,
There's the easy part.
yes,
They don't know what affordable is, do they?
I know, that was my question too.
Oh. What's affordable? You said it was affordable. She doesn't know. She doesn't, no, no.
I can't speak for Habitat. I don't know.
Oh.
But again, if we're using that formula of the average median income. There's a formula that they use and that's, I don't know what it is,
Or,
if you could get in touch with them and ask them. But they try to keep up with it.
Jim,
That's the whole,
so being on this low income housing committee or whatever you're working on, it, for how long now? What have you done? 2 years?
I've been working on it for 4 years.
4 years. So what is our low income numbers for here?
It's not low income, that's different.
That's what we call it, low income house. Yeah, so it's the same thing. We call it what you want. You understand? What's the number on house? What's the number? On the income?
I don't know what you're asking.
I think it's-
I don't know, I don't speak.
4 years and you don't know?
You're asking me about Habitat and I don't.
So your committee, you're working on this to get some low income housing, something for working people. What is the number you come up with in 4 years?
That's not.
You had nobody come up with that?
That's not, there's lots of
I
numbers.
mean, we can
Okay,
come up
let's
with
look.
that.
let's let it go. She says she doesn't know.
Okay.
Question in the way back,
I think it's much better.
all right?
I was just wondering, then I was told, because I came in late, that you guys are trying to change it, because I believe the zoning said 3 acres per household,
No,
per house.
3.5.
No.
3.5 per house. How are you gonna put these duplexes on half acres?
They're not.
That's what I'm asking. That's all I'm asking.
If this plan comes to fruition, the town can change the zoning for the area that is
Just that area.
targeted.
But that more or less states. Say Jim has 25 acres over here, you guys are gonna accept the 25 acres and build 3 per acre
No,
or
that's.
4 per acre?
Oh, no.
The water, the
No,
septic.
no, I think-
Designated area, no?
I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. I don't think there is a plan.
This
I
isn't-
think,
yeah.
I think these are just ideas that are being kicked around.
4 years on.
Well, I mean.
Well, I'm just
and
saying.
to afford it.
I'm just saying, there is no plan yet. So don't get excited. But when there is a plan,
Come to the back door, we're not looking.
when there is a plan, it will be well ventilated and you'll all get a chance to look at it. And hopefully it'll make a lot of sense to everybody.
Whoever's little doo-doo is going off, can you turn that off? That's kind of like very, to me, that's very.
Somebody's phone's tweaking, yeah.
What is it?
Somebody's got like a little bird call on their phone or something that keeps going off.
Okay, look, let's get back to the question up here in the front.
I just wanted to say that I have confidence in the town's ability to monitor any building. I've seen the planning board at work in Ingram, and they're scrupulous in their detailed work on adhering to town laws and to zoning, and they really work hard to allow projects that are really within the scope of Ingram zoning. So although this is an early proposal, I think it's good to hear different ideas. And I have confidence that this group of people, the town board and the planning board, will work together effectively to protect Ingram. And that means protect your interests and protecting the interests of everybody in the town. I've seen how hard these people work, and I really trust them. Thank you.
Thank you.
My God, thank you, my God, thank you, Tom. And this woman here just told us she's read this up for 4 years, and she doesn't know some of the data.
I have to tell you, it's a very complicated issue, getting the boards of housing.
It's-
All right, look, we're going around in circles. We don't need to go around in circles. We've had this, I guess we've beaten this to death, so let's just leave it alone for now. One last comment in the back? No?
60,000, but not.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Around here, 60,000. There isn't any top around here. Except for that, people know that pay 60,000 a year.
Okay,
So.
all right.
I just want to say to maybe the context, that housing is not just an issue here. I don't think it's fair to be just lazy up over it because, I mean, I've lived in a lot of places, okay, 30, I literally have lived in 30 different places, okay? And housing is a crisis issue everywhere, okay? People are really, really fighting for the bare minimum in apartments and everything else, and I'm just saying, it's not just this committee is not good at their job or anything else, it's a nightmare if you don't have any help on you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, just quickly, because it just came in, but I think also, correct me if I'm wrong, but the 4 years seems a little misleading in fairness to bonding. It will be 4 years in terms of beginning to think about it. It's my impression that it's only more recently, maybe in the past year or two, that they really begun to sort of address it more actively and directly. So I think that's.
That's right, that's right. I just,
All I want
It took
to
me-
be interested in is where
took me
these
at least-
lots are were proposed to be put up.
it took me at least 2 years.
That's all.
We don't
Educate
We don't know the answer to your question.
And it's a very.
There's no plan,
That's fine.
but there will be.
Okay, we're done.
Well, I hope you give me the answer. Or
One
I got
day,
faith in you.
one day I will. All right. Let me move on to the camp and the pool. The camp ended last Friday with a grand barbecue at Woody Bax's farm. The kids loved it as usual. And Ruth reports that it was a wonderful summer. So we are delighted. The pool was, as usual, the highlight of the summer for the kids. Jen, thank you. David, thank you for your work in keeping that pool going. Jen reports that the pool will be open until the 31st of this month.
Yep, the time changes. So for tomorrow, right into the 22nd, it's open from noon to 6.
Right. Closed on Saturday.
Closed on Saturday due to other obligations.
Yep.
Like that.
Yep.
And then we go on the 23rd, I believe it is, we go 10 to 4.
Yep.
Because we have kids that are starting sports, and these kids are really doing a good job. This one girl is actually doing sports in the morning, coming to work, and then going back to her work in the evening. So she's really giving it her all, and we really appreciate that.
Terrific. Thank you, Jen.
That doesn't
Okay.
account for the 6 days it'll rain between.
Yeah, that's been a bummer. Town supervisor report, the July numbers and the year-end cash flow and the capital plan are basically as they have been, nothing unusual to report. We should end the year with a little bit more than $1 million in the bank. And we should, in the next 5 years, based on the committed capital, end up the end of 2027 with almost $1 million. But that does not fund a pavilion or a renovation of the pool, both at the $250,000 level. We have an opportunity for a grant that might pay for part of Jim's sand and salt shed. That might be worth $90,000, and we'd be looking for grants going forward to help fund some of this other stuff. Colleen Lutz is working on the grant, and she couldn't be here tonight, but if Colleen is working on it, chances are it's going to happen. So that's where we are on the financials. The 2024 budget process, I circulated to the town board a preliminary draft of the 2024 budget. I'm starting to get comments now from department heads, and by September, I will have a more precise budget. The target for next year is to keep taxes flat again at about the 714 level. So we're going to be working for that. The big uncertainty in the near term and in the long term, as I keep reminding everybody, is we don't know what's going to happen to the economy, and we don't know what's going to happen to sales tax and mortgage tax. As an example, over the last 14 years that I've been supervisor, the sales and mortgage tax have gone up by a couple of $100,000, and our tax liability has gone down by $200 and some odd thousand. And we're basically holding at that level now. If that continues, if we continue to see stability, that'll be a good thing. But if we have an event like the 2008 recession, which created a dramatic drop in all kinds of spending, we could lose a lot of sales and mortgage tax, and that could hurt the town. So we just have to be careful. We have to keep our reserves strong, and we have to be very cautious about how we spend money. That is my message, and I will keep repeating it. Any questions about the financials? Okay. Town board member comments. David, anything? That's a no.
And then I have a couple things. One thing we need to do, we really need to push the county to get the lines on County Route 7.
Yep.
Those lines would be really helpful in the intersection. There's no stop line there either side, really. The one coming from here down is pretty much worn off. The one on the other side is not there, so people are just blowing
Yep.
right through the intersection. Also, you know, the yellow lines and the white lines will keep people more defined. I gotta tell you, we're having a hard time. We can't even park vehicles in front of the firehouse because people are pulling over thinking, you know, that that's where the roadway is.
Yep.
So we need to get that done. I realize it's new roadway, but you know, it's been well over a month, almost 2 months.
They've had trouble getting the contractor to do it, they will try it out.
Is that right?
You know, something's gotta happen. There's gotta be some way to do that. Bunch of different things. I've got a couple other things. One thing, we had a budget adjustment come through. One of the things was for our electric bill. We've had a lot of people, you've been discussing the electric bill for a couple of months. One thing that I've been watching, one thing I think we need to do just for our own information, I think we need to put a meter on the line that goes to the charging units out there, so we know exactly how much we're spending on charging vehicles. Maybe we might want to change how that works. I've seen an awful lot of vehicles hooked up to the charger now compared to in the past.
Yeah.
If we're running that charger all the time, maybe that's one of our big differences.
Is it car free? It's free, right?
We don't charge for it now. But David is suggesting.
I'm not saying we need to charge for it, but we ought to at least know how much we're putting into it.
Okay, good point.
I've seen a lot of cars. One car I see there all the time is from New Jersey. With a Jersey plate on it. I can show you a picture of it if you'd like. So, and I'm not saying that we don't have residents who live in town that have a car with Jersey plates. I'm just saying we need to know. If we're gonna debate our electric costs, we should know what they are about. There's a bunch of different things going on. You guys got an email letter from, the fire district this month. We just want to make certain that we are, paying attention to our roadways and where things are for our zoning department.
Yep, driveways.
Driveways,
and
thanks.
the trust.
That's a big issue. I've been in and out of multiple roadways that are recent roadways that the pull-offs are not adequate or non-existent. I can tell you some of them. I mean, I just think we need to pay attention to.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, but if you know 5 of them,
I mean, a perfect example also on the other hand is when we put the ramp up at your house. You know, I mentioned where that placard was on the door.
Yep.
I gotta tell you, it makes a big difference where it's placed if you're gonna recognize it or not. I think that's a huge issue for us.
Yep.
So,
okay,
We have a question from Jay Hoffman.
sorry,
We have a question from Jay Hoffman.
okay. Jay,
Hello, I just wanted to say that we, at the last planning board meeting did begin to look at putting in additional conditions in approvals regarding the maintenance of driveways and the turnoffs. So we are looking into that, but if you know of specific violations, please refer them to the zoning enforcement officer.
one thing that I know that we've got to change, and I thought I had talked to multiple people on the planning board about. These pull-offs can't be on corners. They've got to be on straightaways. Because when you put them on a corner, the sheer geometry of parking a 30-foot truck on a corner that's trying to get the next one to go past it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Those pull-offs have to be on straightaways. They can't be on corners. Because you can make the corner wider, but it's still not wide enough. Especially the biggest thing that happens in the wintertime, whoever's plowing the driveways doesn't get it quite wide enough, and we're not gonna get by. These are a big issue. And somewhere along the line, it's gonna eat us alive.
Jay, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
While you're here, David asked a question earlier about what other residential accessory uses would be affected by the $150 new fee. And we didn't have a good answer for him, so we decided to postpone again. Do you have a quick answer to David's question about what else besides chickens are affected?
Yes, and I was actually drafting an email. The residential accessory uses begin on page 24 of the Town of Ankrum zoning law and continue through the top of page 27. There are a number of uses in this section which require a special use permit. I can pull each specific one. Just please let me know ahead of time. This proposed change was not specifically related to animal ag in hamlets. I also received a referral for self-storage pods and realized that in increasing the fees in 2023, I had not considered that these uses would begin to be referred to the planning board. And notably, this does not include short-term rentals, which are residential commercial uses. So
There are like 2 pages of these that we need to look at.
agriculture animals as hobby home use require special use permits in all districts except the industrial where they're not permitted, and the ag and Carson Road districts where they're permitted as of right. NC wind power turbine / tower, special use permit in all districts except the industrial. Outdoor wood furnace, special use in Ankrum and Ankrum-Dale Hamlets Business Residential, permitted in Ankrum-Dale, Boston Corners Hamlets, AHR2, permitted in Ag, permitted in Rhoda, not permitted in Industrial, and permitted in Carson. Private animal training area, special use in the Ankrum-Dale Hamlets, BR and AHR2, as well as Boston Corners, permitted in Ag. Special use in Rhoda, not permitted in Ag. Permitted as,
Let me just interrupt for a minute. Are these all accessory residential uses?
yes. I'm proposing that the change only impact residential accessory uses that require a special use permit.
But that's a very long and complicated list.
It's maybe a total of 7 to 10.
Okay,
Do we have any idea of how many of these we give out each year? How many are requested?
Since my time employed for the town of Ankrum, beginning in 2017, there were 0 referrals. And in 2023, there were 2 referrals, but I suspect that there may be others that require the special use permit.
okay, so this is a variety of different residential accessory uses. You're proposing a $150 fee, not a $500 fee. David, is that enough information for you, or would you like to see a hard copy of that list?
Just think, fine, I'll vote for the chickens. What the hell? Let's go. I mean, what do you want? I
Well,
mean,
no, we can
yes,
wait.
let's do
We
it.
can wait
Sure.
and take a look at the
I
list.
think we need to look closer at things. This
Okay,
is what I
that's fine.
talked about. We get
That's
pushed
fine.
about certain decisions. We don't know what we're deciding. about.
Okay, well, I think you're perfectly right. So let's, I think he was going to get the zoning
I
law.
don't know.
Well, we're not gonna vote on it until we get the list.
Yeah,
Okay, what else do you have, David?
that's it for me.
That's it. Okay, thank you very much. You just left, so we'll go to Amy.
Yeah, I continue to work with the highway department, with the Department of Transportation. Waiting, as I mentioned at the last meeting, we had a meeting with the New York State DOT. Representatives from Poughkeepsie and from Columbia County were present. We're now in touch with the county DOT because Route 7 is a county road. And we need to work with the county on any changes that we are proposing, such as a stop sign. For making a left turn into the slip, the two-way slip that goes onto Route 82. We're proposing to make that a one-way slip because of the propensity for accidents in that part. We're also working with, hoping to have them come down to meet with us in person. We've proposed next Monday or Tuesday as a meeting time. I'm just waiting for confirmation from them. So hopefully we'll get something moving then. We want to put in trackers on the roadway so we can get a better idea of how many cars we're dealing with on a daily basis. Because that will help us in our attempts to get the New York State to contribute money to it as well. We just have to prove the need. The other activity that I'm still active in is the Rapid Care Center in Copiague, where the Columbia Hospital is committed to reopening that center. And we all understand what a great service that is and what a need we have for it.
they're having a terrible time trying to attract staffing. They can't open it without staff. They're looking, they have requisitions out for doctors, for PAs, anybody that can write a prescription, actually, to staff the facility. So once again, if you know anybody that is interested in that, please let them know. They are taking out ads in local papers. There are flyers that are going out. They're looking at, the Tri-Town area and Pine Plains as well. So as soon as we can get the building staffed, I think
Actually, we've got 5 towns enrolled.
5 towns now, yeah,
Trying to find
Yeah.
staff.
Even doctors can't afford to live here.
yeah.
There's a affordable housing issue.
Yeah,
Jim, do you have a
Exactly.
Right.
So there was a meeting with the state on 82 about this up here in the center section.
yeah.
And what was the outcome of that?
They have a 5-year backlog on projects. So they are not really willing, the DOT is not willing to help us. D.D. Barrett was there with us.
They've always said that since I've been here.
Yeah, but there is other money that can be tapped. We have to get approval for to make any changes there. We have to engage a traffic engineer to draw up diagrams. We're waiting for some recommendations or referrals from the county because the state is not allowed to give us any referrals. So waiting for that from the county. And then we'll find out how much that costs to have that drawn up. And once we have a
The
proposal,
question to me is, why is this a big concern when there's no accidents there, other than my bus getting home and out there? Yeah. That's my question.
well, I mean, there are near accidents every single day there. If you talk to people who,
It's speeders already.
And I've done for 40 years, 50 years.
Yeah,
I
and
don't understand.
in Carolina, and that intersection has been busy, and there's nothing.
there are more cars now than ever before.
Still no accidents.
well, there was that one car that went into the Steely house.
It's gonna happen anyway, no matter what you do.
It's extenuating
That's every day
circumstances.
over neglect and over cell phones.
We would like to make that
So,
intersection safer for the community and for,
Your numbers don't justify.
well, that's what the state is saying. Nobody's done.
Yeah.
it. We don't want to wait for something.
And it's gonna be, without the state participating, it's gonna be hard to get anything done, I think.
Right.
We said, no, we've been through this all.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt to try.
Right, that's good, yes.
Is the,
It will now, you're talking about hiring engineers and all this stuff.
that was my question gonna be, is that coming out of us, the town, to have to pay for engineers and put the things out on the roads to count the number of cars and everything? Is that something that we're in the end gonna end up paying for?
Don't know yet.
We don't know what the cost will be.
We gotta find some information on what.
Yeah.
Just trying to find out some information on what it would cost and where we could get it. The state, they basically said there's a 5-year backlog. If you want to wait, we'll do an engineering study. Or you can pay for it yourself. That's what they said. So
We're just trying to make it a safer environment for everybody.
No.
And the numbers are not showing the accidents.
well,
I mean-
if you stand there, as we,
I stood there many
as-
times.
as-
I'm on there every day.
as we stood there,
Pull across it with the truck. and
as we
truck.
stood there. A Winnebago got stuck
It got stuck, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it's like school bus.
right in front of them.
Yeah.
And we were like, like, David was there,
Well,
David
what-
had to stop the traffic.
What the
help the guy.
state always says is there have been no fatalities there, so.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen a major collision there. Has anybody ever been there? They would know.
Okay,
Okay, never mind.
what else, Amy?
That's it.
Okay, Hugh, excuse me, it's Mr. Clark's turn. He passes, okay, sorry, go back.
Sorry, I don't know the order of things. I just was wondering about the rapid care center, are they considering seasonal?
No, we're trying to have it open every day.
I understand, it's just, because of the population being greater in I mean, I'm wondering because with people coming up and whatever during the summer. the warmer months.
I mean, it's critical to have it open all the time, all year round. I mean, in the summer, we certainly have more need for it, but
You're not even thinking that yet, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Okay, moving on to the highway superintendent, Jim,
You, if you have any comments? No.
you passed.
Oh, okay.
Well, we finally got our chip sealing work done this past Monday after
Okay.
3 weeks.
I'm sorry, Bonnie, did you?
I submitted chips reimbursement request with our approximately 189,000 on our work we had done prior to our chip sealing. We got about 133,000 left to apply for. Been cleaning up trees and checking roads after all the heavy thunderstorms, which have been numerous, as we all know.
Using that bucket truck? Using that bucket truck? Good.
It was very nice. We had a tree down one day on wires and stuff and within 5 minutes it was there.
Yep,
You guys
they
had-
carried all the
made a big-
chainsaws right in.
Rather than waiting for Central Hudson.
Then we had to repair some ditches here and there from the washed out by all the heavy rain. Checking the roads and the trees and so forth after the windstorms. We're plugging away with the roadside mowing. They were here and dug test holes for the salt shed and they found that satisfactory, so that's in the works. They're gonna send some plans so we can dig the footings for it and get ready. And we'll be going up soon, I hope. I was unsuccessful on getting Gallon's tractor bought in the Walkers International Monday. We will send the some. Town cleanup day will be September 16th. And I have ankle surgery scheduled for 9/21, and I'll be out at least a couple of weeks out of the office, and hopefully back in office part-time after that.
What was your emergency rental?
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
When we had that one bad thunderstorm on Winter Mountain, we had to do some, replace the shoulder up there that washed out. And our backhoe was broken, so I had to rent one. Backhoe. Very little, I can't back.
Jim, for everybody's benefit, can you can you tell us what the town cleanup day entails?
Well, it's like it normally is, you know, you bring, household trash, electronics, car batteries, tires for a fee. You're not allowed to bring mattresses or upholstered chairs. It's gonna be Saturday from 9 to noon, I believe the hours.
And there's a note somewhere.
Yeah,
Bring a donation.
Yeah, bring a perishable food item to donate. to the
Yeah, no, I just wanted them to.
That's the fee.
Dee, did you have a question?
Yeah. What's going on the old town road right now?
We want to start it.
And that how it's gonna stay?
Yep.
Why, what's the purpose of that?
It gives a better service in the winter and any up on the other end where we paid 3 years ago, it was starting to crack and that seals them off and keeps from getting worse.
Okay, Jim, anything else?
Nope. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Jim? All right, Monica's not here, as you all know, well, her grandfather passed away this morning and she's had a very, very tough couple of weeks looking after him. But she has one proposed resolution, which is a 1-day wedding officiant license fee. New York State apparently passed a law allowing anybody to officiate at a wedding. All you need to do is get a license from your town clerk. Monica is proposing the fee for a 1-day wedding license is $25. Anybody have any questions?
$25 and you can.
$25 and you can be a minister for a day.
Okay.
Okay, could I get a motion to approve this, please?
Moved.
Is there a second? Second, all in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed? Thank you very much. While we're on the resolutions page, there's one more resolution 1. we have not had a building manager since George retired. And after basically working as the kind of temporary building manager myself, I learned that the most important thing was to know who to call. And that was basically what I did for the last couple of years since George retired. But I think we're at the point now where we need somebody to take on that responsibility. And in thinking about who we had that could do this, I'm proposing that we ask Deputy Highway Superintendent Brian Ingalls to take on the additional responsibility at compensation of $4,000 a year. Brian knows the facilities. He's already looking after the town hall. Whenever Monica needs help, he's here. Whenever the garage needs some work, he's here.
The election custodian.
Yes, and he's available as we need him. So I'm proposing to the town board that we make this appointment.
Willing to do it.
I think he is.
Make the motion.
David, thank you. Is there a second? Second, you, anybody have questions or comments? All in favor? Aye,
Money well spent.
say again?
Money well spent.
I think so, yes. Okay, so that's been approved. Thank you. Was there a hand up there?
No, fruit fly.
Why are fruit flies attacking you, Jim?
They're all over.
Yeah, they are. They're in the candy.
Sweeter than other.
All right. Moving right along, I have budget adjustments totaling $27,770. That sounds like a lot of money, but $12,270 of that is for the defibrillators. 10,000 of that is for expected attorney's fees, and 3,000 of that is for CT Mal, which we paid earlier this year for their study on the pavilion down at the glass field. So Dave, would you sign those and pass them around, please? I'd like to also now get,
You need a motion for that or no? I'm sorry.
Make a motion.
a motion
The
for,
budget?
oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Can I get a motion to approve the budget adjustments?
Ooh,
Second,
second.
all in favor? Anybody opposed? Okay, thank you very much. And now I'd like to get a motion to approve the warrants and pay the bills.
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Public comments. All commented out. Okay,
Is this comments on any topic?
any topic? Yes, Jen.
We're trying to get the training on the AED CPR for September 5th. It's gonna go for 11 years of that way. That's, if you can get that, they usually right in there sometimes. So, we're just waiting for a reply.
And September 5th is what day of the week?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, okay.
So, as soon as I get confirmation, I will send you.
Excellent, thank you. Did you take one of these packages for the garage? So the stuff in the boxes, town hall.
Yes, I took one of the packages,
All right,
like I was told.
you took the unboxed.
Yep.
Okay, the stuff in the boxes for the town hall. Maybe we can have Brian install it after he installs yours.
Mine's moving on my office table right now. I thought.
That may be, should we hang this on the wall or just leave it on the kitchen counter?
I think it should be on the wall.
Yeah, speaks.
So everybody sees it and knows what it is.
All
I
right,
think it has to be displayed so that it.
so then it's, yeah, so we need to have somebody install it. Okay. We'll take care of that.
Good.
Good.
Like 4 screws.
It
Okay.
comes with the mollies and the screws and everything, so it should be pretty.
All right. Well, thank you. Okay, anything else?
Did you get my email on the zoning board? Sent you an email.
I did, yep, I'm sharing that with Steve and you will move forward. Thank you. Okay, I would like now to propose that the board goes into executive session to discuss potential litigation and the employment history of particular individuals. There a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor? All right, anybody opposed? Thank you very much. The board is in executive session. Thank you all for being here.
Board conference, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, before we adjourn, Ruth gave me a request that has been approved by the judges for Ruth and Lori, her deputy, to go to a court clerk conference this year, total cost of about $1,700 for the two of them. So could I get a motion to approve this request, please?
So,
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, thank you, Ruth.
Thank you.
Done.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Okay, do you need this back?
No. I
Okay.
have it on the-
Good.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are now going to go into executive session. Thank you all very much. See you all next month. You've got to basically.
We are regular meeting. And we're in executive session. That is, we just back out of the elected session. Whether it's the terms.
You need to have that on the tape.
Leave that on.
Video on my phone, so.
That makes it easier.
Why don't, yeah.
Let's go next.
Let's go to that.
Okay.
Fire us back up.
We'll be live, just 1 second here. And you're up.
Thank you very much. The board has come out of executive session. Is there anything special we need to do when we
Make a
come out?
motion, right, to come out of executive session.
Pursuant to discussions in executive session, you make a motion to,
Okay, yes, based on discussions we've had in the executive session, I would like to make a motion that we approve compensating our building inspector, CEO, CEO for the additional time he has been working during the first 7 months of the year and going forward at the rate of pay that he is currently earning. So could I get a motion to approve that, please?
you're making the motion, I will second your motion.
Thank you.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you very much. Is there anything else that the board would like to discuss before we adjourn for the evening?
Seeing no responses, I move we adjourn.
Second.
Moved in second, all in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.